Well, my father raced cars in the 50s and before the war, and it was just a natural, like farming. It was a way of life. It was a natural thing to do.
And so how do you, as a 16-year-old boy, you've decided you want a Bentley, which firstly is quite surreal in 1950.
Yeah.
How do you go about buying a Bentley at the age of 16?
Well, my first one cost me £265, which I bought it off my father, and when I left school he gave me a very small wage and 2 sows. And two pigs.
2 pigs, right, okay. Yeah.
And I saved my money and bought this first Bentley off my father, got my brother to drive it until I'd passed my driving test.
Yeah.
And then I went as a spectator to Silverstone, walked around the car park where you saw lots of racing cars and Bentleys, and I saw one that appealed to me.
Yeah.
So I sat on the step all day until the owner came along. And I said, how much do you want for this 8-litre Bentley, a 2-seater, very powerful car? Oh, he said, £250. I said, oh, I can't afford that. So I said, let's go and have a cup of tea.
Yeah.
So he said, well, what could you afford? I said, £200.
Yes.
So he said, right, done. So he slapped my hand like that. Deal was done. He delivered the next day.
Doesn't like going just at slow speeds.
We need to be doing a lot more revs.
Yeah, you can feel it wants to just go.
Yeah.
Yeah, my great-grandfather, he had Maseratis, had the Pacey Hassan.
Yeah.
But it's always been Bentleys. So my granddad's first car was a 3-litre Bentley, very similar to this one, and he still uses this daily. I mean, he's 86 years old now. Now this is our racing car. This is GSU 757. It's a 1926 3-litre chassis with a 1928 4.5 Bentley engine. So they put a much bigger engine in this car purely for racing. This is our racing car, and this gets used quite regularly. This is a 9-foot chassis, so they didn't actually make very many of these. And this has had many guises. I know, to begin with, this was a saloon car. Had a big body on it. So now it's a 2-seater aluminium racing car. This had a pretty big accident in 2015, so since then we've had to rebuild it. It's all original parts. Just took a lot to get it back to how it is now.
So many of today's cars are wealthy investors buy them. They're not racing people.
No.
Normally racing, you're brought up with it.
Yes.
And they put them in a garage. It's their property. Nobody sees it. You don't hear it.
That's a shame. That's it. Whatever
it's
you buy,
never
it
the
needs
same.
to be out. Yeah.
To hear one of these is so. It's to see a static, in a museum is not the same. You have to ride in the aero engines to believe it. You can't explain to anybody what it's like.
I think 800 horsepower in a car that was made.
Well, some would go up to 1500 horsepower.
Well, I'd rather not, thank you.
Yeah. It's all right. You
scare the hell
you're
out of
gentle
me.
with them. You know what you're up to.
Yeah.
You know. You feel it. It's like flying a Spitfire. You fly it by the seat of your pants. If you're doing a sprint, you can lock it into top gear, like Brighton Speed Trials, for instance.
Yeah.
And you can just have it set it for 800 revs, which is not a lot on
No.
an engine, but it's only a tick over on these
Yes,
engines.
yes,
but
yes.
it's a lot on an aero engine.
Wow.
And as the green light comes on, you just get the clutch to bite, and you go like this with both pedals, flat on the accelerator, clutch right out, and it just take off.
Goes, yeah.
Unbelievable.